Yes, yes, yes. Hi, we are live at Zion Utopia Media. So we're here with Mama Gio. Thank you for coming at this time. And we want to talk about your beloved son, DJ Gio. So I'm so glad to have you here. I know I wish we talked about here in a different circumstances, but we're here to talk about him, who he was, and he was loved by the community. He
Yes,
was
he
an
was.
amazing DJ, and we knew him, and the whole community, Sacramento community, knew him.
Yes.
So and we lost him 2 years ago over community violence. So we want to talk about DJ's story, who he is, and you can just tell us all about it.
Oh, wow. Do we have all that time?
Try to make it. We have at least an hour.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ms.
Yes.
Zion, for having me here. It's such an honor to be
Oh,
here
you're
and to be able
welcome.
to tell my son's story live.
Yes.
You know, Gio Giovanni, his name is
Mm.
Giovanni Pisano, but
Yes.
he's better known as DJ Gio because he started DJing when he was very young.
Yes.
From the time that he was 4 years old, he loved being on stage. He loved, if he saw a stage, he wanted to be on that stage. At 4 years old, he used to don on a cape, and his brother had this white guitar, this toy
Mhm.
guitar, and he would take that guitar, he would put on his cape, and he would pretend he was Prince.
Oh.
And he would have his two sisters
Yes.
as being Apollonia 6. I don't know if you saw the movie, but
No.
he's got his two side girls that are his backup dancers. And so Giovanni used to do that at 4 years old.
Yeah.
We used to sit there with a flashlight and flash it at him, so that he would have the spotlight. And he was he was always an attention grabber. He
Yeah.
would wake up in the morning and he would say, "Mom, I'm so happy," and he'd always have this big smile on his face. And he carried that smile to the last day that I saw him.
Yeah.
The
And
last day
how
that I saw
old was he?
Giovanni, at the time that he was murdered, we have to call it that because he was murdered.
Yeah.
At the time that he was murdered, he was 31 years old.
Yeah.
He had
That's
just
sad.
turned 31 on April 1st,
Yeah.
but then he was murdered on April 10th, so just 10 days after his birthday.
Yes. And he was also a father.
No, he was not a
Oh,
father.
he didn't have kids.
No, he didn't have
Okay.
kids. We talked about it a month
Yeah.
before he was murdered. We talked about it because I had asked his girlfriend to,
Oh.
allow herself to get pregnant,
Oh.
and she said no. She said she's so sweet. I love her so much.
Yeah.
She said no. She said Gio would get so mad, and I said no, he wouldn't.
Yeah.
I said, look at how he plays with his nephews and his nieces.
Yeah.
He would get down on the floor and play with them. He was always calling them to see how they
Yeah.
were. He loved kids.
Yeah.
He loved my great granddaughter. That was one of his loves too. He used to take her and hug her and say, "Mom, I just love her so much."
Oh.
And I would tell him, like, you need to start having kids of your own, or I'm going to die, and I'm
Yeah.
not going to see your kids.
Yeah.
And he would say, "No, Mom." He says, "I'm not going to have any kids until they can live like rich kids."
Yeah.
That's what he would say.
Yeah.
So I had asked his girlfriend to please get herself pregnant, and she said no.
Yeah.
And I remember that the following Sunday, after I told her, the family got together for brunch, and he says, "Mom," he says, "I know that you told Ellie to get pregnant." I said, "Yeah." I said, "I did.
Yeah.
I did."
Yeah.
I said, "I want to
Every
see your
mamas
kids."
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, I
But
want to
it's
see
the
your kids.
baby.
And he says, "Well, if she gets pregnant, it's going to be your fault." And I said, "How's it going to be my fault?"
You'll raise the
It's not going to be my
baby.
fault.
I know a lot of moms like, have a baby, have a baby. Like, are you
Yeah.
gonna take care of my baby? I can
Oh,
have
my
10
goodness.
kids if you take care of. I tell my mom
That
like that. Like,
that
you have
child.
more babies, like, but you're not gonna, you will take care of them, but I'll end up,
Oh
you'll
my
end up with
goodness,
them all the
Ms.
time.
Zion, that child would have been the most
Yeah.
spoiled child.
Oh,
All his
yeah.
brothers and sisters would have doted on him. I would have dedicated my life to take care of that
Yeah.
child. My son was special, and
Okay.
I miss him every day.
Yeah, and his
Um,
family and his
yeah,
nephews and
yeah,
nieces
yeah,
and all that.
yeah,
So
the whole
what that,
family,
yeah.
the
So
whole family.
when he passed away, so he was 31 or he would have been
He
33
was
right
31.
now.
He had because
Okay.
he had turned 31 on April 1st.
Yeah.
and then he was killed on April 10th.
Yeah. Still
So
very
he
young.
was 10 days after his birthday that he was killed.
Wow.
Yeah, it was on the he had been to he was at an event. He was coming home from an event.
Yeah.
And afterwards his when his girlfriend was telling me about it, as they were getting off, we live in North Utopia. So when he was getting off on Argo Arena, he was telling his girlfriend that he was going to get the whole family together. And the next day, we were all going to go out to brunch together. He was going to take the whole family out to brunch. And as they were coming into his street, he was telling his girlfriend what a blessing it was to come home.
Wow.
Not knowing that a few seconds later, his life was going to be taken.
Yeah.
He was ambushed, robbed, and shot.
Yeah. That
in
is
front of his
just
house.
so sad because that is the whole point. We're here really to talk about his life in a positive light too.
Yes.
So, we have a lot of community violence, police violence in our community here in the United States. They don't
Yes.
talk about it that much, but there is a lot of young people
Yes.
like DJ Gio is dying, whether community violence, police violence, drug overdose, and all that stuff. So right now, I know where you are right now when it comes to fighting for justice.
Well,
For
where
him.
we are right
I know
now,
it's 2 years
but
now.
I
You're
kind
still
of want to go
fighting.
back, if it's okay with you, and
Yes.
tell his story
Yes, please.
because he's got a great story.
Yes.
Gio has a great
Oh,
story.
please.
He, the way that he started DJing was because I wasn't able to afford his daycare anymore,
Yeah.
and that was around the time that he was going to turn 11 years old.
Mm.
And so I decided to take him out of school, not take him out of school, but after school, he would take the bus, come to my
Yeah.
office. I was working downtown at the time.
Yeah.
I was working downtown, and he would take the bus and come to my office,
Mm.
and he would either do his homework there at my desk, or take naps under my desk,
Yeah.
or be in the break room,
Yeah.
having snacks and coloring or whatever. But after a while, he got tired of it.
Yeah.
He was like, "Mom, I want to go. I want to go walk." And I tell him, "Well, it's not safe."
Mm.
Even at that time, it wasn't safe to be walking down K Street
Yeah.
Mall. And at that time, we had pagers. I don't know if you.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
You're
I was
young,
there.
so I don't
Trust
know if
me.
you know.
No, I was there in the pagers time. Yeah.
So we had pagers, and I gave him his pager, and I said, "You know what? You go and walk, dial 911,
Yeah.
and then I will go find you." So a couple of weeks later, he says, "Mom," he says, "I found a record store that's doing DJ lessons." And I said, "Well, how much are the DJ lessons?" And
Yeah.
he says, "They're $134." And I thought, well, compared to the $800 plus that
You're
I was
paying for
paying for
daycare.
daycare, I said,
Makes
yes,
sense. Yeah.
yes, let's do it. So I went to the store. Me and the instructor, we spoke, and I didn't find out until Gio's service that Gio was his first student.
Wow.
Yeah. That was
So it was like a
DJ
blessing
Soup.
for him.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. He had a record store downtown.
Mhm.
So Gio started taking DJ lessons, and about 2, 3 weeks later, he comes back and he says, "Mom," he says, "I'm going to be a DJ."
Wow.
He says, "I'm going to be famous, and I'm going to make a lot of money." He says, "I need for you to buy me my equipment." And I said, "Son, that equipment must cost a lot of money." I said, "We don't have that kind of money."
Yeah.
He says, "But you have credit cards?"
Yes.
So we went to Guitar Center, and $2,200 later, he comes out with his equipment. He says, "Mom," he says, "I'm going to pay you every cent back." He
Aw.
says, "I'm going to be doing school parties. I'm going to be
Yeah.
doing school house parties." He says, "And I'm going to pay you back." And he did. He started doing school parties. He started doing events. He started doing house parties, and then pretty soon, him and his friends got together, and they were doing their own little events
Wow.
where they were doing dances for underage kids.
Wow.
He was an entrepreneur.
Yeah. He
He was
already found his passion
He
that
found his
young
passion.
age because sometimes it takes a long time.
Yes.
I found out my passion was really doing restaurant and working with people. When my aunt opened a
And you have great
restaurant.
food, by the way.
Thank you. And then I started working. I was young too.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is what I want to do.
Yes.
So it's so good to find, especially young age, to find
Yeah.
what really you want to do
You
in
found your
life.
passion.
And that's what he was doing. And he
Yes.
loved doing it too.
Yes,
I
he
mean, you
loved
can
doing
tell,
that.
you can feel him like music and DJ, everything
Yes.
was in him.
Yes.
And he
Yes.
did it with passion.
He did it with passion. He loved doing what he was doing.
Yeah.
We, after he paid off the first set of equipment, he
Yeah.
said, "Mom," he said, "I need an upgrade."
Yeah.
So he wanted to upgrade his equipment, and we
Yes.
did that. From there he went on, and he did clubs. They started at 16. He was already doing clubs.
Wow.
At 16, they started calling him the young phenom on FM 102. The DJs on FM 102 started calling him the young phenom because he was so talented and he was
Yeah.
so young. And the club owners in downtown, they started sneaking him in the back door
Yeah.
because he wasn't 21 yet.
Ah.
So they had to bring him in through the back door in order for them to
Yes.
play. Because he had such a following, they wanted him there, and people would
Yeah.
follow DJ
Yes.
Gio.
Wow.
But they
That's
were bringing
why.
him in the back.
Yeah.
And then from there, he went on to play, at big events. He went on to play with major artists like Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah.
He opened for Chris Brown. He opened for Bruno Mars when Arco Arena was still there. I mean, he collaborated and worked with so many artists. Keisha Cole, I don't know if you know Keisha
Yeah.
Cole.
I do. Yeah.
He also DJ'd for, and I can't remember his name right now, but the kid that's on Empire, the younger rapper
Oh.
kid that was on Empire.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many people. If I ever
Yeah.
get his phone back, we'll be able to look at all his story.
Yes.
But he went on to play with major artists, and from there he just,
So he was
blew up.
living his dream.
He was living his dream.
Yeah.
He toured internationally. I remember there were times when I would call him and I'd say, "Son, let's go to lunch or let's go to dinner or
Yeah.
whatever," and he'd say, "Mom, I'm in the Dominican Republic."
Wow.
And
Wow.
he toured to places that I can only dream of.
Yeah.
Or he'd be in Puerto Rico, or he'd be in New York, or he'd be Chicago. He toured to, like I said, to places I can only dream of.
Yeah.
He
lived
was living his life, and he
Yeah.
loved it. He
Yeah.
played at events of over 100,000 people,
Wow.
which that to me
Yeah, you
is
can see
just
right-
amazing.
right there how many people.
That
Yeah.
to me is amazing.
It is, and he's still young too.
He was,
I
yes,
mean, he was very young.
he was very
31-year old.
young.
He was already living his dream life at
Yes.
31.
And his next goal was to be at AISA. It's a big DJ event that they hold.
Yes.
So,
yes. He was on
that
the way up
something-
there.
Yeah,
He was going. Imagine
Yeah,
he was
he
only
was.
31, and he was already up there doing all that.
yeah. But he loved
And,
touring. He loved meeting people.
yeah.
I enjoy it when people come up to me and they say, I met DJ Gio, and it's 5 minutes into our conversation, I felt like he was my friend, or
Yeah.
I felt like I knew him forever. He mentored people. He inspires me still.
Yeah.
I mean, if anybody is able to go into his Twitter and see all the motivational quotes that he had,
Yeah.
one of his quotes was, "When I die, look through my camera roll.
Aw.
I lived a great life. I had a great life."
Wow.
I had a great
That's
life.
amazing. And he did.
He did
And
have a great
everybody
life.
loved him here in Sacramento, the community.
Yes,
Everybody
his
knew
loss
who he
was yes, his loss was not only a big loss to our family.
Yeah.
It was devastating to our
To the whole
family,
community.
but an entire community.
Yeah. It's because we lost him, but we gained an angel in heaven.
Yes, yes, we did.
Because he was loved by so many, and I
He
don't
was
even
loved by
know
so many.
everybody knew him
Yes,
in Sacramento,
Yes.
especially around the art and culture community, the
Yes.
music community.
Yes.
So when he was there, whatever club he's at, it was always packed.
Mhm.
So, and we were so lucky to have him here in Sacramento, but unfortunately, because of community violence, and he was taken away from you, from his family, from the community.
Yes.
So now you've been fighting for him to get some justice for people who did
Yes.
that to him.
Yes.
2 years later, yesterday we were marching even for the lawyers that are not getting paid enough.
Yes. Yes.
So-
There's a, it took me a while to kind of like get my head straight because losing a child is so devastating to a mother.
It is, yeah.
I think that you carry your child for 9 months.
Yeah.
You hold your child. You watch him grow. You guide him into adulthood, and you never expect to be
Yeah.
burying your child.
Yeah.
You expect your children to bury you first.
Yeah. That's the natural
That's the
order.
natural progression of being
Yeah.
of aging, and that did not happen for Gio and I, and it took me almost 2 years
Yeah.
to kind of like get myself into a position where I was able to think, okay, how can I make my son's death count for something? How can I make it matter?
Hmm.
And how I determined that I could make my son's death matter was to be able to carry on his legacy. One of the things that he wanted to do when he was during the pandemic, he reflected back a lot
Hmm.
on why he didn't end up in gangs and why he didn't end up, in with gun violence or
Yeah.
in any
Which
gangs or
is the
anything like
culture
that.
right now here
Yeah, which is the
for the
culture. And
younger
he was
people.
reflecting. He says, Mom, he says, I think that the reason that I never ended up,
Yeah.
in gangs or
Mm.
committing crimes or anything is because or drugs because he rarely drank,
Mm.
and if he smoked, it was a hookah.
Yeah.
He didn't do any drugs. He didn't
Mm.
do liquor. But he said one of the reasons that I think I did not end up in a bad situation is because I
Mm.
discovered music when I was very young,
Yeah.
and that became my passion. That's all I wanted to do, and that was all he
Wow.
wanted to do. He would come from
Wow.
home from school and
Yeah.
start practicing,
Yeah.
practicing his DJ. I remember that I used to sit in his room. He had a sofa, and I would sit on that sofa. And when he was done doing
Mm.
his practice, he would always play "Dear Mama" by Tupac.
Oh. Oh yeah. I
So
love
every
that
time I
song
hear that
too.
song,
Oh.
it just pokes at my heart.
Yeah.
But that's all he did, and he felt that that helped him. So what he wanted to do
Yeah.
was he wanted to start a DJ program for youth. He wanted to be able to
Oh.
teach you the kids to
Wow.
DJ in
Yeah.
hopes of keeping them away from streets, of keeping them away
Yes.
from gangs and
Yeah.
trouble.
And
And we were
absolutely.
going to start that in 2023,
Yeah.
but unfortunately, he didn't make it.
Wow.
He didn't make it to
But
2023.
you can make it for him now.
And now with through his
Yeah.
foundation,
Yeah. He has a
this is the
foundation right
goal.
now. People
So the
can.
foundation. So what I'm doing now, to make my son's
Yeah.
death count for something
Yeah.
is to carry on his legacy of what he wanted to do, and then also to help impacted mothers or parents that have been impacted by community violence. So what I found was that when Gio passed away, there was really nobody there to kind of navigate me through my grief or
Mm.
navigate me through what was going to be going
Yeah.
on in the legal system.
Yeah.
And I felt confused. I felt
Yeah.
like I didn't know what.
A lot of people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so this is with the collaboration of other organizations. I collaborate with other organizations, and this is part of part of Geo's legacy too.
Yes.
That we are able to help these families, these
Yeah.
impacted families,
The mothers that
the
been
mothers.
going
Yes,
through. Not many people. Sorry about
yes,
that. Not
yes.
many people know what the mothers who lost their kids, whichever way. It's unnatural, and there's
Hmm.
no support,
Yeah, it
and
doesn't
there's no
matter.
support at all.
No, it doesn't matter how you lost a child. The
Yeah.
fact that you lost a child
Yeah.
is a long life, a
Yeah.
long life sentence of grief.
Yeah.
You never get over it. I know mothers that have lost their children. One of them lost her child 36 years ago, and she still cries for her child.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
another mother that lost her child, and he was an adult, and lost her son 16 years ago, and
Mhm.
she still cries.
Yeah. I
And
mean, how do you get over a child, especially unnaturally? It's not, it wasn't, by God designed. It was a human error.
yes,
It was it would have been prevented. So
mhm.
I know you're working also at the same time while we advocating for the mothers who lost their children. Also, how do we prevent for something like that, like DJ Geo happening again? Because there's a lot of community violence in our community.
There is.
There's a lot of police violence. So I tell people, our young people are caught in this culture. If the money culture, the drug culture, the sex culture, the gun culture. So they caught up on one way or another. So how do we protect our kids from
It's hard,
those
Miss
type
Dion,
of
because
culture
they
in our
yes,
community, in here, especially in the United States
yes,
community?
yes. I think that it's hard. I think that it's not something that I can solve by myself. It's going to take a village. Like they say, it's
Yes.
going to take a village. It's going to take some of these parents that are impacted to stand up and pick up their shield and fight for more programs for our youth to
Yes.
keep them away from trouble,
Yeah.
more community events where families are actually coming together. Because right
Yes.
now there's such a big separation in families, in
Mm.
kids. Not only are we separated by economic stature, but by social.
Mm.
If some kid is not wearing these types of shoes, he's not
Yeah.
accepted. He's not
Yeah.
a part
The
of the group,
culture.
the
That's what I was
culture.
saying.
And a lot of that has to do with social media,
Yeah.
because we are social media driven. What
Mm.
social media shows us as what we should have,
Yeah.
that's what people are wanting to have.
Brainwashed. Yeah.
Yeah,
The young
brainwashed into having,
people,
such
especially.
as with
We were
Geo.
there too.
Yeah.
I mean, especially with the social media, it's like 2.0. I mean, when we were young, we wanted to have things,
Mhm.
material things that were
Mhm.
valuable to
Yeah.
us when we're young. But once you get older, like, okay, that's not valuable no more.
Yeah.
So they are bombarded with the Facebooks, Instagram, and all that temptation. And the government don't control that.
Yeah.
Like they say TikTok, the China,
Yeah.
controls that.
Yeah.
But when you come here, our kids are exposed because there's so much lobbyists and the government and the politicians. They only worrying about the money and selling out our kids.
Yeah.
And instead of creating policy to protect our kids. That's why I was gonna come to you right now. I know we can blame it on social media.
I mean, there's so many levels.
So
Ms.
many
Zion.
levels,
There's
but
so many levels.
I believe the government also need to be responsible for underrepresented community to protect our kids from this type of thing happening. So for me, I don't see any policy to protect our community, but policy was supposed to protect community from our kids dying unnecessarily. But right now, look at you even fighting still for the necessary access to fight for your son, and we still have to protest against the government that they're not even paying properly the people who defend and help you.
Mhm. Yeah, it's hard for me to speak on changing policy because I'm not experienced in that, but I do know that there's more that needs to be done,
Yes.
especially in underprivileged neighborhoods where I've been doing so many vigils,
Yeah.
and there's such a need for youth programs, for education
Yes.
on what some of these kids should be just watching on
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah.
I think that, like, when I said so many levels, it's like when you have social media and you see all these rappers and all these movie stars and artists that are
Mhm.
wearing these expensive clothes or these
Yeah.
Dior's or they're
Bronze and all
a lot
that.
of we don't realize that the reason that they're wearing that is not because they buy it.
Mm.
These manufacturers give them these things
So
because
they can
if they
promote it.
see them
Yes.
wearing these things, other people want those things.
Yes. Yes.
And so, I mean, that's one thing that we kind of like have to look at too.
Yeah.
That we should not be kind of driven by what uh, social media is putting out
Yeah.
there,
As
because
a
we don't even know.
society, what are we
But
valuing?
yeah, what are we valuing? But as far as policy, I think that our government can do more.
Yeah.
I think that there should be policies that drawn up that can maybe help with some kind of gun regulations
Mhm.
where guns are not so easily accessible to these
Yeah.
youth, because right now any 14, 15-year-old can buy a gun.
Yeah. And also that 14, 15-year-old doesn't have a family who can take care of that 14, 15-year-old.
Mhm.
Maybe their parents in jail, or
Mhm.
they just came out of jail and they
Yeah.
have no value for their life and for other people's lives. So they do stuff like that.
That's true.
Yeah. But if the government invested the taxpayers' money is supposed to be protecting our kids, but instead it's not really protecting our kids. In fact, the money is going to somewhere else, and instead of investing into other underserved, underrepresented community, so even if they have gun or whatever, then they don't go and kill another human being.
Yeah. Or
Whatever
even
happened to
if
the
they
fight?
understand, yeah, yes, you used to
You
fight it
know?
out, duke it out, and then
Yeah.
you'd be friends again.
Excuse me.
But with even with guns, how are these kids getting these guns?
Yeah.
How is it so easy for them to get these guns? And then the other part too, like I said, so many levels. The other part too is that some of these youth that are committing some of these horrible crimes, they really don't get uh, the consequences. There
Yeah.
has to be hard consequences so that people think like, okay, I'm not going to do this because I don't
Yeah.
want to go to jail for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But when you're youth, um, you don't get the
Yeah.
jail time. You don't get the
Yeah.
long sentences.
Yeah.
And what
And then you can
happens
still come
then?
out and commit the
Yeah,
same thing.
I mean, we had
Nobody's
that.
teaching you how to become a better society. There is
Yes.
no programs when they come out.
Yeah, just about a month ago, we had a underage who was in juvenile hall. I believe it was 2.5 years, and then he's out and he's already killed somebody. So now
Yeah.
he's back in jail. So there was no rehabilitation for him
Yeah.
because he came out and then he committed another crime. And the other side of that is too that some of these people that are out doing bad things in our community,
Yeah.
they recruit these kids and they tell them, hey, you know what? Go shoot this person because you're only going to do a couple of years.
Yeah. That's why I say the government should be responsible to protect our community through policy, whether investing in them or creating a justice system that can make them accountable. And then when they are accountable and come out, they have something that a program or a mentor to get them into the society.
Yes.
But the thing is, they don't have that supporting system.
No.
So now our kids are vulnerable for that type of. So for me, we need to make the government accountable. And then last time there was a shooting in downtown, and they were like the mayors and the
It's
city
every day.
council members. They're like, this is community violence. So it's like as if it's not their problem.
Yeah.
I would say that is your problem. That's why they getting paid, the government workers, to protect our community from our kids being vulnerable to whether community violence or police violence. But if I don't feel my kid, I have to pay my kids all the time to come home.
Yes.
It shouldn't be that. That means the
Yes.
government failed us. They're not investing in the underserved, underrepresented community. And instead, the money goes into the big companies, the wealthy people. And instead, in fact, government was created to protect people like me and you and invest in those underserved, underrepresented community. But now what is happening? They're actually making money off those kids from making mistake, and they go to jail and they come out. There is no rehabilitation for them, and then now they commit because they hungry. They don't have parents or government to take care of them, and they do that type of outrageous killing and other things. So that's why it is important that we really fight for policy, even for the mothers who lost their kids, don't have any supporting system.
No.
So if the taxpayers, if I'm paying tax, everybody, if it's not protecting a mother like you who lost, tomorrow it could be me. It could be every
I don't
mother.
wish that on anybody.
I'm just saying, but we have to think like that. It's my child too. He's only the. I have 25-year-old. You see what I mean? We have to operate, especially mothers and women. We shouldn't wait until it happens to you. It happens to me. It happens to somebody. We say, it happened to you. Now let's make the government accountable. Let's create a policy that protects our kids and our mothers. In that way, they can invest the fund into back to us, back to the community that they supposed to protect. So, but right now, there's nothing protecting our kids. The gun is all
along with
over the
that,
place.
true.
The drug is all over the place. The money is easy to access,
True.
fast money. The sex is all over the place on their face. Through Instagram, ban me from promoting reparation, but they promote sex and all that on Instagram.
Yeah.
So we gotta make, as a mothers, we gotta make the system accountable.
Well, I think that more impacted mothers should come together
Yes.
there's so many of us and so few of us that
So
are actually
many.
out there doing the work
Yeah.
and showing support for some of these policies and things. Just like with the strike that's going on
Yes.
in the DA's office.
Mm-hmm.
This is the capital of California. Sacramento is the capital of California. We should not be going through this.
Yeah.
We should not be having our
Yeah.
DAs
The whole
out
DA
here.
out there protesting
Exactly.
against their own government that
Against
pays
their own
them.
because their pay is lower than other
Yeah.
counties, and they should not be out there protesting. They're needed inside the courtroom. Not that I want to make them work any harder,
Yeah.
understand, but them being out there in the sun
Yeah.
striking, that's not where they should be.
Yeah.
They should be inside the courtroom doing what they're supposed to do, not creating more of a backlog on cases.
Yeah. And they fighting against the people, the lawyers that has the
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
So the people lose at the end, because when you use a public defender and then you have a private defender, somebody with money, so your kids might not get justice.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
unbelievable to me. And we're living in a Western civilization. Now, I lived in England, so for 10 years. They don't have, when it comes to the legal system, there is no private. Everybody's government worker when it comes to lawyers.
Wow.
So everybody has fair
Yes.
justice.
Yes.
The reason we don't have fair justice here, the government workers, they don't get paid enough. So they're ready to just brush you and throw you in the thing and buy. That's
Well,
why.
not only that, they have a high turnover because
Yeah, there's so many
because their
people they
pay-
have to deal with.
yeah, their pay is low. They're overworked.
Yeah.
Some of these, I know that the prosecuting attorney in my son's case, if I text him, he responds back immediately.
Yeah.
One time I texted him, it was 3:30 in the morning. I thought, he'll get it when he wakes up.
Yeah.
He
This was
texted right
still
back.
up. Yeah.
He texted right back, and I couldn't believe it. So, for some of these people that have their opinions on like, oh, they already make so much money, why do they want some more? They work long hours.
Yeah.
They're not like everybody
Yeah.
else.
The
They
public
don't-
defenders, especially.
yeah, they're not like everybody else.
Yeah.
If I'm working at a restaurant, I have a time that I come in and I have a time that I'm off.
Yeah.
But these public defenders, they're working on cases,
Yeah.
whether they're in the office, whether they're home, and sometimes they wake up in the middle of the night saying, "Oh my goodness, I forgot to say something, or I forgot to write something down," and they have to do it right then. So it's to me, it's unfair.
It's
I
unfair.
think that their bargaining contract should be signed immediately
Yes.
so that they can get back to work and not not have that backlog that's being created now by all these days that they have taken off.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is how the whole system is deficient, because I was gonna show if people can see yesterday I had
Oh yeah,
let's see if I can find this one.
yeah. Today we had a press conference too.
Oh, they did. Okay,
And tomorrow
good.
we're going to be out there. So if there's any impacted mothers or anyone that wants to help support the DAs, please be out there. We're going to be
Yeah, there they are. See, we were there yesterday,
yeah.
right there. Yeah.
yeah.
So protesting because they're not getting enough paid.
Well, you're so good at doing videos.
I'm trying. Yeah, we were there yesterday
Yeah, we
with the
were.
protesters.
Wow,
All of
you're
them
amazing.
out.
You are just
You
amazing.
that right there. You are right there.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. So, I mean, you guys gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah, I have lost a child, but I feel like I've been with so many mothers around that lost their child. It's just so unfair. It's just so unfair.
It is
There's no
unfair.
system that supports the mothers. We need policy to do that as soon as possible. That's what we have to fight. As a mothers come together and fight for a policy that really protects the mothers and the children. Because I feel like, especially in our community, the Black and brown community, we don't have no policy protecting our community.
I know.
What is
I
it?
know.
It's like our kids are out there to be eaten by the wolf.
Yeah, sometimes you kind of feel like you're left out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the whole point of policy was really to protect community. The health and wellness and the safety of the community is what policy is about. So if that is happening in our community, Black community and Black kids, that means the government failed us. And instead, they're too busy the governor, the city councils, the city manager, the supervisors. What are they?
Yeah. You know, Ms. Young, I still want to know where all that money was lost. What was it, like $26 billion that were lost,
Yeah,
and nobody knows where they went to? I mean, they could have been using that money to pay the DAs, and then
yeah.
they wouldn't be out there striking. But like
And
I
create
said, you know,
programs
we
for
could
these kids
we
to
could be
get them
talking
into
we could
so
be
many
talking about
things.
all this all day.
Yeah, but they make
About
us accountable. They make our kids
yeah,
accountable. They put them in jail for petty things. Now they come out, they messed up, and then we can talk about mental
that's
health.
true. Oh
Our
my
young
goodness. I
people,
mean, that's another level.
another
Mental
level, they're
health.
putting it under the rug because they don't want to talk about mental
Yeah.
health. Mental health is like pandemic. If it was me, they need to really make it like a pandemic when it comes to especially the youth. And mental health is real.
You know, the youth are our future. We need to be focusing on
Yeah,
our youth. We need to be creating whatever programs need to be creating, just embracing them,
yeah,
because is if our youth is not educated, if our youth keeps killing each other, who are we
yeah,
going to have left?
yeah.
I mean,
The older
the
generation
politicians are
who's
not
going
going
to
to have
take
any
over.
voters. Who's
Yeah,
going to vote for them, right?
yeah. And the youth are the one who's going to take, this is what are we giving them? What are we passing it to our youth? What type of world are we passing it to them? Look at where
Mhm.
we are as a society
Exactly.
because of greed, because of selfishness, because of, not investing taxpayers' money where they're supposed to invest it. And instead, they're investing it in the rich companies. So now we have to fight with this non-profits. We don't even know what they are to give us the fund to protect our kids. By the time it gets to us, it's all gone.
Well, you know what, Ms. Leon? I want to make our communities as safe as possible.
Yes.
If there's anything that I can do,
Yeah.
I will be there for you.
Yeah. So
I
what we
am,
need to do is really fight for policies that protects our kids, our children, because if our kids are not safe, then yeah, we can fight
yeah,
for pay, more pay and all that. But if they don't tackle the root of the problem in our community and instead saying, oh, this is so community violence, but you're getting paid to fix all that community violence. The government is getting paid to keep our kids safe. If they have not done that, look at 2 years later, how many people they fight for 10, 15 years for their loved ones.
hmm
There should be a specific policy to protect the mothers. Even after that happened, you're on your own,
yeah, yeah. That's
and
true.
we live in a
That
richest
is true.
country in the world, but we don't
Everybody
have
wants to come here.
protection. Yeah, no protection for
Yeah.
your kids though, unless you are in a different community. So we're going to fight for a policy that will protect our children because the budget in California, over $300 billion budget a year. If it's not, they're not investing in our community, underserved, underrepresented community. So where are they investing in then? Where is the money, like you said?
Exactly.
Look
Where's the
at the
money?
housing problem.
Oh my goodness.
They just
That's
broke
another
my
level.
my my
That's
window
another
from
level.
my
That's
my
right.
door.
That's right. That's right. And I mean, they broke into Cervantes' house,
Yeah, they broke into a
Stefan's house.
church.
Yeah, they broke into a church.
They've been,
And
it's
these
like,
kids are breaking windows all over in the South Natomas
yeah,
area. It's
yeah,
like I said, I don't have the answers, but I'm willing to do my part,
you're doing a
because I am
lot.
not going to
Yeah,
sit down and just watch everything happen. You
yeah,
know, like one of our collaborators says, you know, if you just sit there and see it happen and not say anything,
yeah,
then you're a part of the problem too.
yeah. Because that's why we're putting all this out there. So even mothers, everyone needs to be alert on this thing and make our officials accountable.
Yes.
Otherwise, they just sit in there comfortable, getting paid, and they were supposed to do the job was supposed to do. They make us accountable, but nobody's making them accountable.
Yeah.
Show us the results. Why are our kids, young kids from 15 to 27, 28 are dying?
Yes.
I mean, especially the black and brown kids.
Exactly.
I mean it's not only community violence, police violence, drug overdose right now. It should be alarming for parents like us.
Yes. Yes.
It
And it is
shouldn't be,
alarming.
your son. Tomorrow is my son, and could be another person's son and daughter.
Well, look, I feel like my kids are, my grandkids have a double whammy because they're mixed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Everybody
there's,
tomorrow, your baby's gonna come. Your kids are gonna have. This is America. Gonna come and have kids from the from the the underserved, underrepresented community. Now something happens. Now
maybe
you're
that's
like,
maybe that's what it's gonna take. Maybe it's
yeah,
gonna take, for all our races to be mixed,
yeah,
and then
and then we can
nobody,
make
there's
a
not gonna be that separation of races.
yeah. But it shouldn't be that
It
way,
shouldn't be
though.
that way,
We
but
should
it
all
is.
love one another regardless, because God created everybody equally.
Exactly.
There is no me and you are the same. We mothers the same. We feel. You might be light skinned, I might be dark skinned. So what? You
It
know.
doesn't matter.
But we're still mothers. We still have feelings. We still need the same thing, the same needs and
Yeah.
wants for human beings, especially
Yeah.
for mothers.
And we can
We
still
need.
come together to fight for our community and
Yeah.
everybody's children,
Yeah.
not just our children, but everybody's
Yes.
children.
Yes. We have to have a mentality like that, because if we say, "Oh, that is the black community," "Oh, that is the white community," "That's the Asian," then if we do that, that's what they want us to do. But tomorrow, it doesn't say when it comes to your kids, it's not gonna be like, "Oh, I'm gonna attack the." Everybody will be attacked eventually if we don't do something about it.
You're
So
right.
that's why I think the stuff you do, there is amazing things you do that really is the epitome of like how we can actually prevent something like geo don't happen again, whichever way. That's what you're doing. That's what you're fighting. You're
Yes.
fighting for my kids.
I'm
You're fighting for
fighting.
everybody's
I'm
kids.
fighting for everybody's kids.
Yeah.
My son has no voice
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
I'm his voice.
Yeah.
But I'm not only his voice, I'm the voice of every child that was taken.
Yes.
And
And
I
it's
will
a lot.
fight. And I will stand with any mother. I always tell mothers, like, even if it's just you and I standing in the corner with our signs, I will
Yes.
be there with you.
Yeah.
Because as long as you have one other person that's by your side, that's giving you
Yeah.
that support,
Yeah.
it gives you the strength to be out there fighting.
Yeah. Yeah. And you are, honestly, I admire you because it's not that easy to do that.
Oh my goodness, I admire you. Look at all the things that you
No,
do
I
too.
mean, for me, because I don't feel like I'm doing even much.
Well,
You
it's
know,
really nice to be
because
appreciated.
it's on every day. I see it around
Yeah.
me. Maybe I'm like, everybody seeing it like I do, or are they being very complacent? People being like very complacent,
Or
they
maybe they're
hear
just
it.
afraid to come forward
Yeah,
and let their voice be heard.
yeah,
But if you don't mind, I'm going to
yeah, yeah.
plug
Go
in my
ahead.
Instagram.
Yes, yes.
If
Go ahead.
there are any mothers, impacted mothers out there that would like to
Mhm.
help out or show your support, you can reach out to me. My Instagram is Anita, Anita, the number 4, and then Gio, Gio. And,
Yes.
send me a message and I will reach out to you. And if you're able to, please come out and join us in supporting the DAs, because we want the louder, the more people that come together, the louder that our voice will be. The
Mhm.
louder our voice is,
Yes.
the better results we get,
Yes.
or the more we're going to be heard. And we really need to come out in masses.
Yes, absolutely. And
Oh,
we'll be
look, there's so
reaching
many
out
little
to you.
hearts.
Yes. We'll be reaching out to you. We'll be talking to
Thank
other
you.
mothers too, because there are a lot of mothers.
Yes.
Now we'll bring, individuals to talk about this as well, so we can do
Yes.
something about it.
Yes.
So
Yeah, like I said, we need to come
Yeah.
together. More
Yeah.
mothers need to come together. More parents. It doesn't
Absolutely.
have to be just mothers, because fathers are impacted too. But we all just need to come together and be that
Yes.
community that's going to create change, that's going to
Yes.
affect change.
Yes.
And we have to do it for our children.
Yeah, we have to. That's what we're doing, and we really, I'm so thankful for mothers like you, because you're not. Some people, like you said, they're afraid. They just sit at home and don't know what to do, and you are the voice for them. And I know they look at you and they appreciate you, because you're not only the voice for your son, you are the voice of a lot of sons and daughters who passed away
Yes.
unnecessarily. And a
Unnecessarily.
lot of mothers go through pain and suffering, unnecessary pain and suffering. It's gotta stop.
Oh my goodness, you
We
have no
gotta
idea.
stop it.
You have no idea all these
Yeah.
sleepless nights, and
Yeah.
you have no idea how it hurts to lose
Yeah.
a child.
Yeah.
But I really want to thank you, and
No
I want to
worries.
say,
Yes.
do not stop making that great food because
Yes. You love the food?
I love the
Good,
food. I love the
good.
food.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
thank you for having me. It's an
No,
honor being here,
anytime. I'm so glad to have you.
and it's
And
always I am always up to telling my son's story
yes,
because if there's
yes,
one thing that I like to do is
yes.
I like to talk about my son.
Yeah, we're gonna keep on talking about your son. That's
And
what we're
check out his
gonna do.
Twitter because he's got a lot of motivational
Yeah,
sayings
tell
in
them
his
what
Twitter.
Twitter, where
It's
they can
yeah,
find
DJ
him.
Geo
Yes, yes.
Twitter.
I
Oh, but
think
it's
all
not
you
Twitter
have.
anymore. It's X.
It is X
It's
now.
X.
Yeah, you know I can't keep up with all these things because
I
like
can't either.
keeping me busy every day, all day. Like I don't have all this going on out there. We have no time because
But
we
even
have.
as busy as you are, look
Yeah.
at you're still able to do this for the
Yeah,
community.
because this is important.
It is very important.
Because it is important because it's life, it's
Yes.
human beings, it's
Yes.
mothers and children, and that's who I am. Besides business and all that stuff,
Yeah.
your son, my kids, everybody's kids important because they are God's children.
Thank
We
you.
were given to protect them,
Thank you.
but life happens.
Yeah. And that's another level,
Yeah.
the survivor's guilt.
Yeah.
But
No, we can't. Sometimes we gotta leave it to God, but at the same time, make the government accountable. The government officials who's supposed to be protecting our kids while we're working and doing every day to day work, 2, 3 jobs to survive.
yeah.
So that's but everybody, please, follow. Get involved. That's what I say. Get
Yes,
involved. Get involved not just in
Please.
activism, investing in your community, investing in small businesses and entrepreneurship. Like you were saying, investing in these young people.
Yes.
You invested in him, even though it was a little, it's not much, but that got him where he's at. Imagine they took out the art and music and culture from the schools.
Yes.
We need to bring back. That's what you're
Yes.
doing right
Yes.
now. So in his name, now
Yeah.
we're building music and art and culture for our kids, so they don't end up, if we keep them busy and invest in them, because not them they have some kids, they don't have a mother like you or like me. Maybe some of their parents are in prison or
Yeah.
something. So who's going to take care of those kids? We
Exactly.
invest in them, just the small things that they
Yeah.
need at the young age. They need to support you. So when it comes to your nonprofit, so in that way we can actually save our youth in that way, because they are
Yes.
smart, they are intelligent. They just need a little bit investment in their life, like you invested for
You
your
know what?
son.
If I can just take one more minute of your
Sure.
time and talk about the nonprofit. So the
Yes.
nonprofit is, let's see, I don't know if you can see it here. Can everybody see it?
Yeah, you can see
Okay,
it
so
on that
it's
one.
the DJ Geo. Oh no, Music is Life and Arts Foundation.
Let me get it right
Oh,
here.
okay. And how it started was to carry on Geo's legacy.
Yeah.
But the other thing is that after Geo was murdered, there were artists
Yes.
that started doing paintings of him. Shantae was one of them. She did a really, really nice painting. We had Bammer, DJ Bammer. He did another nice painting.
Did
There
they
were,
do
there were
mural
several.
for him? The mural?
The mural that
Yeah.
they did for him
Oh,
outside
good.
of the Blue Ox in the back of behind the Citizens Hotel. I mean, that was amazing. That it's huge. But we did, because there were so many artists that were coming through. Uh, um, uh, Artemax was
Mhm.
another artist that did some paintings of him. But because there were all these artists that were doing paintings, we decided to do an art show. And it turned, I mean, the art show was beautiful. It was beautiful. Garibaldi was there because he had been good friends, or he was good friends with Gio.
Yeah.
And he did a live painting there. So if you go on the Instagram, you'll see all that.
Yes.
But
Nice.
I want to do a shameless plug
Yes.
because tax time is coming.
Yes.
If anybody is wanting to reduce their taxes, please consider donating to the DJ Geo
Yes.
Foundation and
Yes.
reduce your taxes. We have a 501(c),
Yes.
and you'll find that information in the
Yes.
in the Instagram.
Absolutely. And you are looking for the space that we're talking about, to be able to do the art and the
Yeah.
music and
Yeah.
the culture
Yeah.
and all that under
Yeah.
his name.
Yeah.
So the youth, the young people who don't have those type of platform that you created that
Yes,
platform
thank
for
you.
them,
Thank
because
you.
you see, you not
Thank you.
only DJ Gio, you would be saving a lot of life, because these kids, they only want something
Oh my
simple.
goodness, and there's so many artistic
Yeah,
kids. Like when we had
so
the art
many.
show, we had a table for young kids to paint. And
Yeah,
we had easels, we had canvases,
yeah,
and I still have those. I want to be able to exhibit those because they're so great. These
yes,
kids did such a great job
yes,
painting and just being able to have that outlet for kids where
yeah.
they're able to express themselves through art or through music, I think is huge.
It's huge. It's huge. Honestly, that would prevent from so many kids being out there and playing with gun and drug and all that type of stuff,
Yeah.
because
But
they are
anyway,
smart.
like
Yeah.
I'm
But yeah,
taking more and
please,
more of
please.
your
No, no,
time.
no.
Like we could
This is
we
your
could be
time. It's
here
not
all
mine.
afternoon.
It's your time. So that's, please make sure you donate and participate. $5, $10
Yes.
goes a
Yeah.
long way.
Yeah.
Everybody has to. If they don't contribute with their time, with their knowledge, at least contribute with your money, just a little
Oh.
bit. So
Yeah.
in that way,
Yeah.
everybody wins,
Yes.
because the money we spend anyway for
That
coffee,
money's
for
going to be
this, for
spent on
that.
community.
But
Yeah.
imagine if we're spending it towards our youth and community, everybody benefits. So
Everybody
we need more
benefits.
people like you doing the work that most people don't want to work, don't want to do. That's what
That's
you're
right.
doing. The
That's
least we
right.
can do is support you.
Thank you.
So,
Thank
so we
you.
gotta support. We gotta support the nonprofit. We gotta support Mama Anita. So please make sure, if you cannot,
Thanks.
if you want to know where to support her, you can also reach out to me on my Facebook, Queen Sheba. You can find me everywhere. So we want to hear from you how you want to participate, and also make the city, the state, and the county accountable through policy. Then we'll have to do that if we have to do that too.
Yes.
So
Thank you,
yeah,
everybody. Thank you.
thank
Thank you.
you,
Thank you.
everyone. Please reach out and donate and get involved.
Yes.
Get involved. Get
Yes.
involved. Get involved.
I can't
So
wait to meet you.
yes, thank you, everyone. I appreciate you, dear. Thank you for coming. And he looks like such a beautiful soul,
Oh my goodness. You just
and
had
and
the
so
best
cute
smile.
and handsome, and his dimple and everything. Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. He was
So
good.
yeah,
And he was
such a
talented.
beautiful,
And
beautiful.
he loved being up on that stage.
Yeah, and we love our kids, so we don't want nothing happen to them.
No.
So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yes,
It's been an honor. Thank you.
Thank you. We're good. We're done on this one. Yeah, that right there. Right, you see it right here. The red one on top. Yeah, there. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Okay, I got it.
See, I'm glad you're doing this because I would not know how.
It might be that one at the end.
Looks like it kind of falls. Oh, you know what? I know what happened.
No, what
Because
happened?
I'm used to
Oh,
I'm
the
used to
math.
screen.
Yeah, you're used to the touch
yeah,
screen
the
one.
touch screen. You see, that's what happened. I'm sorry. It's on here. Yeah, I'm sorry. Everything
I know
I
my
use
mom
is
has one too. That's why I'm like,
touch screen. So let's see, it's happened. It's